This is A to Z with Mark Zinno, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, and it starts now.
Good afternoon. Welcome to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, where today I tell you, we needed that one. Welcome in. We are live here on this Tuesday. Great to be with you guys. Jam-packed show for you on today on A to Z. Follow us on Twitter at Locked On ATL. Of course, I'm at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. Give us that thumbs up as we continue to grow almost 3,000 subscribers. Certainly appreciate all the love and support you guys give Locked On Sports Atlanta and the entire network here. We have a lot to get to. Boy, do I have to get into Live Golf again and the PGA. I honestly cannot believe that we're still dealing with this stuff, but we'll get there. Plus, the AP Top 25 is out. We didn't get to that yesterday. We'll dive into it today with some predictions that are likely to go wrong. But we'll have some fun with the AP Top 25 before the end of the show. Of course, Shovels of Wisdom and a whole lot more. Thanks for joining us here on A to Z. We start today with the Atlanta Braves because they got a big win last night. And boy, did they need it. I mean, it was one of those games and one of those situations where it could have gone horribly wrong. It could have absolutely gone sideways. And you're looking at a situation where going from 5.5 to 6.5 in the first game of this series and trying to win the final 3 games in a row, especially with DeGrom and Scherzer going, seems insurmountable for the Braves. If this is a short playoff series, definitively, you don't have a choice but to beat the other guys who aren't Scherzer and DeGrom, because chances are you're not going to beat Scherzer and DeGrom. Not many do. So this was a huge one to get last night, and the rain certainly threw a wrench into the works. That was not in the plans at all. And give some credit to my boy, Spencer Strider. Give some credit to this young man who is as resilient as they come already at his young age in the league, was able to go through 2 innings, sat for an hour in the rain delay, where most young pitchers, especially ones that were, quote, protecting, would have been yanked from the game, went to the bullpen and everything else. Strider, according to reports, threw a simulated inning during the rain delay in the ballpark, whatever it was, and was back on the mound when play resumed. Now, he only lasted 5 innings, which is fine because, again, you're not really, concerned with his depth in the game at that point. If he got you through 5, as far as the rain delay and everything else, then you're in a really good spot. I mean, that to me, more than anything, was very telling about the sort of moxie that this kid has and the way he approaches the game and the mentality and everything else. And I thought it was just really critical that he'd come out after that. He only threw 87 pitches to 5 innings, so clearly he could have had one more inning in him, if not more than that. And we know that some of Strider's issues have been his economy. When he throws a lot of extra pitches that doesn't necessarily need to, but that's okay. Like I said repeatedly, that'll come in time. But the offense did their job the rest of the way. They didn't put any pressure on the bullpen. They made it easy on him. So Strider gets the victory, and the Braves get a big 13-1 win. Now, a couple other takeaways from this game that I think are worthwhile. Strider's post-game comments to me were smart. I enjoyed the way he went after the Mets after he got banged around last time. To me, I think that was fun for me. It's great to see a young kid with that much confidence be able to do that to one of the best teams in baseball and have no problem about saying it and then going out there and backing that up. But he showed a little maturity. I'll tell you about that in a second. First, a word from my friends at BetOnline.net, the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your sports betting needs. Find your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league. That's Major League Baseball. Got NFL preseason coming up. It's here, actually. NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information. From live in-game betting, scores, podcasts, they've got you covered with all of it. Head to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to learn more about the action that is happening. BetOnline, where the game starts. Okay, back to Strider here. after the game, where he talked last time about how he thought the Mets got a little bit lucky in his last outing against him, only lasted 2 2/3, shortest outing of his career as a starter. And Strider said, quote, "Talk the talk was not exactly what I was trying to convey after the game. I need my chamomile tea. And I didn't have it in the clubhouse in New York. I was frustrated. They're a pesky team. They grind out at bats. They don't strike out, don't swing and miss. And that's kind of how I pitch. They're the opposite of me. I knew it. I didn't make an adjustment last week. I chalked that up to them." Like, that's a really measured response and a smart one in understanding the opponent that he's facing. The acknowledgement of who he's facing and how hard they are to get out and that you have to make adjustments against them, I think is really, really smart from Strider. I think it's really, really a kid who is beyond his years in that sense, because he knows that he's a guy that is going to be called upon to make big starts down the stretch here. And he was really smart in the way he went out there. He said he adjusted. He leaned into it a little bit. I didn't expect to strike out a lot of guys, just wanted to get ahead, fill up the zone, and let them hit the ball. And he did that, and he did it well enough, all things considered, through a rain delay, to put his team in a great position to win a baseball game. Look, it's great when you score 5 runs before the 5th inning. That certainly helps. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room, if you will. So I think that, makes it a lot easier to send Strider back out there. Or, I don't know, they hit on all cylinders last night. It was super important. The other big takeaway from the game, more than anything, is Ronald Acuna. And how much I remember one radio host in this town not too long ago saying Acuna was a, quote, hole in the lineup. Yeah, hole in the lineup. There's a hole in your head, bro. Now I get it. Look, the last 25 games leading up to the All-Star break, Acuna was stinking up the joint. Okay? He was batting .226. He had an OBP at .317. His OPS, was .617. That's bad. He had just 2 home runs. He struck out 25 times in those 25 games and only drove in 6 runs. Since the All-Star break, Ronald Acuna Jr., for those who thought he was a hole in the lineup, is batting .314. He's got a .372 OBP. That's 60 points he raised his on-base percentage since the All-Star break. He's at 60 points higher than what he was in the 25 games leading up to it. He's got an .826 OPS. He still has only 2 home runs, but he's only struck out 16 times, and he's driven in, I think, 12 runs. Starting to come around. Now, he's not hitting the ball out of the ballpark like we all expect him to, and that is why people say, oh, he's off, because he's got unreal power, but he's not, knocking the ball out of the park. So he's doing so many other things. He's stealing bases. He's just making plays not a lot of other people can make. He was fantastic last night offensively. Let's hope it keeps going in the rest of the series, because they'll need his bat as much as they'll need his glove and everything else. Now, with momentum being only as good as your next day's starting pitcher, not the guy you want going today, in my opinion, in Charlie Morton, but he's going to have a big start. In his 2 previous starts against the Mets, he gave up 5 runs in both of those starts. Last time out, he got banged around by him. You're going to need a big-time start from Charlie Morton today. You're going to need a big-time start from Charlie Morton and a way for him to keep his team in the game. Now, on the flip side, Taijuan Walker starts for the Mets. The Braves banged him around last time. Didn't even get out of the first inning. He gave up 8 runs. So, it's one of those things where both of these pitchers are looking for a little redemption today. And Taijuan Walker's been really consistent. Charlie Morton has been, inconsistent. If you go back to his last 5 starts, ready? He gave up 5 runs, no runs. 5 runs, no runs, and 5 runs, which was the last start against the Mets. Really, bro? Come on. We need a little bit more consistency out of there. A little up and down. So Morton is going to have his best stuff tonight. And let's see what happens, because we know this. If they take tomorrow night, they're in great position to take 3 out of 4 if they can get one from Scherzer and DeGrom. Getting one from Scherzer and DeGrom feels big. Feels very, very big. So taking the first 2 in this series would be huge. But the momentum would swing back in the Mets' favor greatly if the Mets can win tonight and then have Scherzer and DeGrom looking to take 3 out of 4. All right, coming up next, this is not only an act of desperation, but it's also one of the most unrelatable acts of desperation I've seen in quite some time. That's next right here on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta.